Hi everybody. Well, I made a video yesterday and I really didn't say everything I really wanted to say. Something that I wanted to bring up that I think a lot of us don't think about are the subject of executive orders. I think it's probably the most misunderstood threat to our republic that exists and that's ever existed. Basically, an executive order is a law. It has all the power of a law, but it's something that's signed by a president. Now, there are recourses to executive orders if the legislative branch doesn't like it, if the Congress doesn't like an executive order, they can write another law. Unfortunately, it can be vetoed by the president and require a two-third majority and able to pass. So it's seldom, if ever, been used. Practically impossible once a executive order is signed. Now, a lot of people don't understand is George Washington used the executive orders very, very a lot in his presidency. He established almost all the departments that you see in government have been established by the executive orders, starting with the Secretary of State, Department of Internal Affairs, Foreign Relations Department. Those were all enacted very early in George Washington's tenure as president. Each president, I believe it's around 50, have enacted around 50. They were either called executive orders or executive memorandums. They're orders, they're not memorandums. But generally, most of the presidents have gone and they take a basic law, but they want a little bit more control. So they would establish an executive order which would give them a little more control in order to it. But some of the executive orders that have happened that people aren't aware of, Franklin Roosevelt signed an executive order that established the internment camps for the German and Japanese citizens. That was an executive order. Homeland Security was an executive order. Truman took over the steel companies. 1933, I think it was, when Franklin Roosevelt signed the act saying it was illegal to hoard gold. And we hear little rumors of it, but if it ever happens, it'll come as a result of an executive order. On his first day of office, Barack Obama, like I say, as far as there are three ways to override an executive order. The first being through the Congress, second being through the court system, but we all know that if you want anything going to the Supreme Court, you better get in line because it's going to take you a long time. And then it's probably not going to come out the way you want it anyway. But the way that they're usually overrode is the incoming president overrides the order with a new executive order. When Barack Obama first became president, on the very first day, what he did is he went in and he began to override a lot of Bush's executive orders, and he signed a bunch of them. It's kind of strange that the one he did not get involved in, did not override, and it was actually started and then made stronger through Bush's, and that was the executive orders that makes it illegal for us to delve into the personal life of the presidents. And he refused to do that when he's only strengthened it. And like I said, the thing I really wanted to talk about was the new one that I think is a real problem, and nobody's talking about it. And I think we ought to be talking a lot about it. And that was the one that was signed on, it was either June 6th or June 9th, I think it was June 9th, by Barack, right in the middle of the Wiener Gate and the woman that killed her kids. And that was the executive order establishing the White House Rural Council. If you haven't looked at that order, just type into Google White House Rural Council. It's a short order, it's easy to read. It could be scary. You know, in 2001, after 9/11, of course, Junior Bush, he signed the Homeland Security, and we know where that one's taken us to. Didn't happen overnight. It's been almost 10 years now, but it's certainly not going away. It's only getting stronger, and it's never been questioned. There have been a lot. You hear a lot of quotes when you hear about the Libyan thing, about the War Act, and it's all up. We're all waiting in line to get the Supreme Court to investigate whether the president has usurped his authority by the War Acts. Just, you know, since the beginning of the United States, there have been patriots that have been afraid that some president was going to set up a dictatorship through the use of the executive orders and memorandums. Like I say, most of them are trivial, but a lot of them aren't, especially the ones that are being reenacted now. If you go back in history, you'll notice that Clinton caught a lot of heat about executive orders. His son, I think it was around 400 of them. Junior Bush, he signed a ton of them. And Barack looked like he's getting ready to set a new record. He pretty much ignores an executive order, gives him the power to ignore the legislative, and he's working towards eliminating the judicial branch of our government. We have three governments. We have three groups. We have the judicial branch, the executive branch, which is Congress, and the legislative branch, or the executive branch, which is the president. Executive orders have created tremendous power. When George Washington was first elected, the Constitution was set up, and he set out from day one in 1789 destroying the Constitution. If you like a history lesson, just go back, executive orders of George Washington, and study them, and I think you'll be surprised at what you'll learn. If you go through the thing, they weren't really affronted really hard until the Roosevelt administration. You'll find that there are a lot, anytime we have economic problems, depression, things that are really important, you'll find executive orders. You'll find that most of the civil rights with Kennedy and Johnson were all established by executive orders. Anyway, what I wanted to bring to point is the strength, the power, and the threat that the executive orders offer. They offer all the problems we have, in my opinion, have been greatly increased by use of the executive orders. And generally, they don't mean much. They're executive or presidential memorandums. We don't really think about them. The news doesn't spend a lot of time talking about them, but they are paramount in this battle that we have. I think we need to quit spending quite so much time studying current events and go back and find out what it was that got us into this mess, because I think you'll see that that direction is greatly intensifying, and in my opinion, primarily with the use or misuse of presidential power expansion through executive orders. Thank you all very much. Have a good day and God bless you.